Hi, I'm Dr. St. Nicholas Burroughs from the forever sunny land in California in the city called Bakersfield. I graduated from the University of Maine at Presque Isle with a bachelor's in business administration and a focus on leadership. I continued my journey forward with a Master of Arts in organizational leadership, also from the University of Maine at Presque Isle. In addition, I did complete an MBA from the University of Queen Castile, and I just finished my last class and my last degree with a Doctor of Healthcare Administration from the Virginia University of Lynchburg. Sophia learning has become a huge part of my story. Sophia in itself allowed me to be able to do something when I haven't had an opportunity to do it before because I grew up terminally ill. I was always so sick that I was a Make-A-Wish Foundation recipient, always in a hospital. I grew up in hospitals. I spent a lifetime with heart problems and increasingly got sicker and sicker. When I tried to go to college in person, I was too sick to sit through all the classes. There was too much to do. My heart was so weak, so sometimes I needed a rest for 14 to 16 hours a day. And then going to class and all that, there's no time to do anything. I finally was listed for a heart transplant in 2019 after I was told by my doctor to let nature take its course. I got a second opinion, listed for a heart transplant, was told I have probably about maybe a year and a half left of my heart. So I never accomplished my dream of getting a college education, and it did take a huge mental toll on me. I finally was given my heart transplant in January of 2020. This was during a time right before our entire world shut down. And while I was recovering from my heart transplant, Sophia started their COVID specials and all of that, and going, while you're home, come and learn. And so I'm like, hey, let's try this out. So while I was in the ICU, recovering complications, rejecting my heart, I was just doing Sophia classes in my free time. It went very well. After a few months with Sophia, I completed a total of 96 credit hours, and I went straight to the University of Maine at Presque Isle, who took everything. It took only a few months there. I finished my bachelor's, a lifelong dream of over a decade in the making. I've always been too sick to do it. Sophia let me catch up, and that was huge. I finished the requirements for this degree, and they just offered a new competency-based degree at the University of Maine at Presque Isle, which was a Master of Arts in Organizational Leadership. I applied for it. I got in. I passed out with straight A's. Some of the basics I learned in Sophia business classes have applied all the way to my master's classes, basically, because the concepts and the theories applied, and I got to see how my own thinking changed over time. So I learned theories from here. I learned how to build on those theories and build on those theories. Oh, I was just thinking, what's next? Then an opportunity made itself available. I went on to an accelerated doctorate program with the Virginia University of Lynchburg, and I built on those theories again, where I just started with Sophia, barely knowing this business work. I only knew what I knew in my business. I was able to formalize it and take it on to my BA, to my MA, and to my doctorate. This was such a tremendous journey for me. I was the American Council on Education Student of the Year for 2020 because of all the medical hardship and how I was able to use an ACE credits such as Sophia, and being able to use these ACE credits allowed me just to overcome being weak, being unable to meet in person, being able to avoid people with my immune suppressed heart. I was able to use my own time, my own terms, find other competency-based programs like Sophia, who embraces what Sophia really is and allows me to learn that same way because it was effective for me. I have severe ADHD, and it's hard for me to focus sometimes. With Sophia, I was able to do things bite size. Sometimes I need to read something. Sometimes I need to do a video on something, and being able to attack things from different approaches worked out well for me. And this is why I felt like when it translated over to the University of Maine at Presque Isle, their entire courses for their My bachelor's and master's are designed the same way, and everything just snapped together, and it got me rolling. Here I am, a couple years later. I took an accelerated doctorate program. I finished a competency-based master's degree, a competency-based bachelor's degree, and Sophia, all in a matter of less than 3.5 years. I am now a doctorate holder, and that is such a dream and like a miracle. It's hard for me to believe something like that happened to me, who just grew up as a sick kid from a little poor farm town here in Central California. I never qualified for anything because of California's high cost of living. And I always was just barely missing the mark for the cutoffs of like college scholarships, barely missing the mark for Pell. I made $43 too much for the Pell Grant, for example. And so with Sophia, I was able to cut out thousands and thousands of dollars in my cost. And now here I am using that idea of savings and able to research competency based. And I went to amazing universities like the University of Maine at Presque Isle and the Virginia University of Lynchburg for my bachelor's and master's. And I graduated with only $30,000 of debt for a bachelor's, master's, and a doctorate. How amazing is that? Thank you, Sophia.